Hello to all my collectibles friends, back from HeroesCon. Really good time. So on the sports card side, sports card shows are awesome. Don't get me wrong. Love sports card shows. Heading off to Chantilly next weekend, and then I'll be at the big national at the end of July. But there's something about a Comic-Con that's just so different. It's just the diversity of people there too. When you go to a card show, most of the folks look like me. When you go to a Comic-Con, it is literally everybody. Everybody is at a Comic-Con and they're there for all sorts of different reasons. It's really cool how they set it all up. So for my sports card people that might be watching this, you go to a Comic-Con and of course, yes, you've got people that are selling comics, obviously. You've got boxes of comics, kind of like dollar bins at a card show. You've got long boxes that have got kind of $1 comics, $5 comics, and that sort of thing, where a lot of people are really going through there to pick up certain issues to complete sets or runs, is what they call them, for different character storylines and that sort of thing. Then, of course, on the back wall, you have the key books. Those are kind of the big, more expensive ones that are there. But then you also have people there that go to meet artists. You know, there might be, particular comic book artists that you like that happens to be there. And there's some big names in the comic book artist world that show up, especially at a show like HeroesCon. You've got that. You also have an area where you can actually go up. There's easels set up and you can draw art, and then they will actually auction that off. There's people selling all sorts of different types of products. I like too that you can get kind of vintage toys are there at this HeroesCon. So you do have comic books, but you've also got all sorts of different things going on. You've got the cosplay, the dress up people, the guy that's dressed up as Deadpool, the guy that's dressed up as Wolverine, and they're taking a picture together and that sort of thing. Not something you would see at a card show. You don't typically have a guy dressed up as Pete Rose. I mean, maybe, but not as typical as what you would see at a comic book convention. So HeroesCon was a lot of fun, and sorry for the titling. I know that it was a little bit clickbaity. I didn't actually poop my pants, but something I did see there clarified and confirmed my fears about graded and, frankly, a lot of the ungraded supply that was over there at HeroesCon.
What do I immediately see? Ungraded keys. Look at this stuff, man. Awesome stuff. It is not graded.
If we're being honest, I mean, it had to be probably, if I'm looking at it, and I'm not talking about just the long boxes that have like the $1, the $3, the $5 comics. If I'm looking at the back wall that people have, where that's the key stuff, that's the good stuff, it's probably 70% ungraded, 30% graded. That's what I would guess. That's what I saw. Still a lot of graded books for sure, but there was a lot of ungraded keys. And I think that's key to the conversation. Pun intended, it's Father's Day. I'm bringing the dad jokes. Guys, there is so much out there that is still not graded for a variety of reasons. Some people just have not bought in. Some people think that, I'm not going to put this thing in a tomb. Some people, they want to spend $500 on a key book and they actually want to read it. And that's totally fine too. For me, I would rather, what's the website? Can't you just do like Marvel Unlimited or something? There's a service where you can read like every Marvel book that was ever created. I'd probably do that, or I just buy a reader's copy. I would buy a jacked up copy of whatever that book is. Granted, if you're trying to read Amazing Fantasy 15, you can't really buy a jacked up copy for a low price. They're all expensive. But for most books, you can get that reader copy and it's a lot less expensive. All the videos that I've made here recently about graded supply, and now I'm seeing, my God, everybody's talking about it now. Census this and census that, whether it's Comic Tom or Automatic Comics or Swaggle or any of these folks. I'm not saying that they weren't talking about this before, but they have certainly ramped up the graded supply and the lack thereof, and just kind of the increase on the census. Now all of a sudden, cgcdata.com that website's getting all sorts of traffic that it didn't see before. Everyone is tracking now. All right, Hulk 181, what are we seeing? What are we seeing on these key books? Because frankly, if you look at kind of the top 10 sellers, the top 50, even go top 100, Marvel, DC, and Independents, it's a lot of the same books. There's certain books that come in and out of the 100, but if you look at probably the top 50, 60, it's literally the same all the time. There's not that many. If we're really breaking down what are kind of the big time hobby keys across every genre, bronze, copper, silver, gold, I don't think it's that many books. Actually, Golden Age is really interesting. Let me tease my next video on the channel. It's going to probably get some people riled up. And it was just a thought I had. And granted, everyone might think it's completely idiotic, fine. I don't think that in the future, a lot of these niche Golden Age titles, Catboy or whatever, whatever it is, pick one out of your pocket because there's lots of them. I saw tons of them at HeroesCon, tons. These random Golden Age books, I think, could be fairly vulnerable. Not the big IP stuff. So like an example of my first Golden Age book, I got a copy of Superman 16, first Lois Lane cover. I'm not as worried about buying a Superman book. Even if it's number 16, it's not a key. I would much rather own that than Catboy number 6 because that's a really rare copy. That's a really rare book. Frankly, guys, I'm a little worried that there's not going to be a collector base there in 10, 15, 20 years to pay $5,000, $10,000 for those random Golden Age books. There's a lot of them out there, a lot of random Golden Age stuff. And I know a lot of the Golden Age horror. I know there's a whole genre around that. People paying huge, huge money because they are rare, but will the demand follow? Because that's what everyone always hits back at me about. Hey, look, man, supply's going up, graded supply's going up, but the demand is going up too. Well, is the demand going up with Golden Age stuff, the really niche stuff? Hell, I'm not even certain that it's going up with Superman, Batman, let alone Catboy, or whatever the hell you got. So that's something that I'm really watching, doing a little bit more research on it, but that will be the next video here. We'll be talking about Golden Age books. Just because it's old doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hold up price points over time. That'll be the next one. All right, I did hang out with my buddy Neo, and I helped him spend his money. Man, if you are one of my hobby friends and we go to a show together, if you don't want to spend money, I am the last person that you want there. Because whether it's Flippin' Steve bought, I think it was the most expensive card he's ever bought, was a Willie Mays rookie card 51 Bowman. I helped him buy that. And the same with my buddy Neo. I'm not going to ruin kind of what he bought because he's going to make a whole video on it. But again, we were kind of going back and forth, looking at comps, and I felt like he actually did get the best deal at the show. I'm pretty confident that he did for the particular book that he bought, just based on what we saw there. Now, of course, for that book, is there inventory outside of HeroesCon? Of course there is. There's plenty of it, but once you see the book that he bought, it is one of those where the price points can vary depending on a variety of different factors. So I won't spoil that. But again, I felt like HeroesCon was a success. They did announce that it was a record-breaking attendance. Didn't feel that way to me. I was there only on Saturday. Maybe Friday was way busier. I'm not really sure. But at the end of Saturday, they announced record-breaking attendance. It didn't feel like it was any busier to me than it was last year. But again, I have no idea how they're tracking that. But it was not a slow show. There was definitely people there from about 10 to 12, though on Saturday, not super busy. And then from like 12 to 5, it was cooking. There was quite a few people there. I did not buy anything because I'm actually waiting. There's a couple of auctions that are coming up, big July auctions. There are a couple books on my radar. I'll make another video as we get closer to July and those auctions. But guys, thank you very much for joining me here today. If you did go to HeroesCon, let me know in the comments below. For me, that show is only a couple hours away, so it always makes sense to go, and I can hang out with one of my friends, one of my hobby friends. All good. It's a win-win. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and don't forget, there is a ton of ungraded comic book supply for key books. We will have more rolling out, more to the story, my friends. Stay tuned. Talk to you later.